Hello, fans. I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and we're going to take a look at a Lian Li fan. I'm not a fan of Lian Li, though. Unifan AL140V2 RGB. And this is one of those interlocking fans. That's why they call them Unifans. Because you can directly connect them, as you can see in this image, instead of using cabling. Now, you still need a cable to go from the fan to the motherboard or hub or whatever it is you have. Now, unfortunately, when I got this fan at Micro Center, it was open box, and I didn't look inside to see that whether or not there were any parts inside. Unfortunately, it only came with this. I contacted Lian Li to try and find out where I could buy the parts from, and it was an overly laborious process. They asked unnecessary questions. There were unnecessary delays. There were also, holiday delays, and that was fine, but there were other delays that they caused by just not answering my question about, because I just asked, this is open box, I just want to know where I can buy the missing parts. So then they're like, for this fan and other fans from Lian Li that I bought through Micro Center, and they're like, well, how do you know that they're missing parts? And I was like, well, these are what I have, and these are what they came with. They wouldn't even admit that parts were missing. I had to just basically force them in. So, I'm not impressed with Lian Li. And finally, they're like, well, you can get it at AliExpress. I said, I don't want to buy on AliExpress. They didn't offer any alternatives. So I was really, really disgruntled about that. It's a nice looking fan. They used probably CNC milled aluminum on both sides here to give it a nice advanced look. It's also got these CNC metal sides here and here. And yeah, so it's an attractive fan. It doesn't have a lot of ARGB, but it does have some around the sides here, and here, which you can again see that it lights up both those little slots as well as the blades. So I'm going to grab the cable from another Lian Li that I bought that does have the cables. Hold on. Okay, so it is one fan that plugs into the side of the fan right here with these pins. And it's a little bit confusing when you first look at it, but if you pay attention, you'll realize that flange sticking up there is there to cover up the pins that are sticking out, because you don't want those sticking out if they're not in use. You want to protect them by covering them, and so you're going to align the flange facing downward so that it'll be over the pins, and as you push the pins, they slide inwards. Now, you just push it into place, and there you go. You can, and if you were doing an interlocking thing with these fans, the pins would be hitting those fingers there. But this is both the PWM connector as well as the SMJST 3-pin connector for the ARGB. It should come with an adapter to go from this to standard ARGB, which I've been using. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out the lighting first. Now, I don't know if this is actually how well this is going to work. It should work. Lian Li does not admit that this is compatible with any other product other than their Connect 3 software, but I'm using ASUS software right now, or rather the motherboard, and it's working just fine with the motherboard. Not all brands do. And I think it's nice looking. You've got these additional, here, let me turn that out of the way. Got these nice strips along the sides here. And you get that nice ring around there. I think that was a nice touch. There are two reasons I'm not fond of Lian Li. First reason is that they overcharge for their products. Now, granted, they do put out some very nice products, very attractive products, but there are better products out there, and I would rather buy a better product that isn't as attractive than an overpriced fan that's attractive but not as functional. That's just me. You do what you're going to do, but that's how I feel about it personally. The other reason, again, is their customer service is not good. I did try to contact them through their website, and I was unable to contact them. Now, that could be because I've got a script blocking extension on my browser that, unfortunately, sometimes even when I tell it don't block, it still blocks. And that's irritating. But otherwise, it's my favorite. But anyway, that's beside the point. So maybe when I contacted Leon Lee twice through their website, they never received it because of the script blocker, and that's totally understandable. However, the amount of time and effort I had to put in just to get the answer AliExpress and no other help from them was unacceptable. So yeah, that ticked me off. Let's go ahead and listen. Let's get ready to rotate. All right, here we go. Come on. Oh, come on. I hate that when that happens. There we go. No, don't stop, don't stop. Keep going, keep going. There we are. All right. Pretty quiet. A little bit of noise, but very little. I hear, I think, a harmonic resonance. It's already a little bit noisy. Wow, that is an interesting harmonic resonance. That's weird. It revved up and then it slowed down a little bit. I don't know what that was about. It doesn't seem to be running at full speed. Now, I suppose that could be my fan controller, but I'm not really sure why it did that. All right. So you've heard it. A little bit on the noisy side. It has a different note for harmonics than you usually will hear on a fan, and I'm assuming that's because of the composition of the fan more than anything. But you know what? I'm going to turn this around because you were hearing the fan blowing in and I wasn't paying attention. That's my fault. So I'm going to do that again just so you can hear from the other side. Normally I don't do it from both sides. All right, one more time. Yep, there's a harmonic there. There's another. And another. Yeah, that's usually the tone is different with most other fans when I hear harmonic resonance. This one is a deeper tone than what I usually hear. Yeah, that's weird. I hit the top of the of the dial, and it suddenly slowed down a little bit again. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. All right, now, these are not not weak fans, really. Okay, right about there. So that's somewhere around, that's more than 2. What does it say here? This says 2.8. I don't know. I'm not sure that that's actually 2.8. It could be. I'm a little bit dubious about that 2.8, but it could be 2.8. Could be a little bit lower. Not so sure what's going on with that. All right. So I am hearing that harmonic resonance on and off here. Yeah, I don't really feel like it's 2.88, but, I could be wrong with that. This fan, assuming 2.88 millimeters of water, is good for intake and exhaust on the case. Also, really good for the air coolers. And it's on the lower end for using on a radiator, but you could definitely use it on a radiator. And of course, for decoration. A few detractors not a few, a couple of detractors for me about this. Number one, the fan size is a little bit larger than the actual 140 millimeters. They claim it's a 140 millimeter, but when I put it into my frame there, it was actually a little bit larger, and I had to adjust the frame size. But it's pretty darn close. I am not really sure why it was not quite fitting right, but it's fine. But for me, this bothers me. The version 1 connectors I thought were a better connector. They were sturdier. However, they got in the way. And so if you were mounting it and you were in a very confined space where you had like this much space, you wouldn't be able to connect the fan to the motherboard or hub. Whereas with this one, you don't have to worry about that because there's so little space being used by this. However, if you have to disconnect this, there's no pull support here. So when you pull, you're putting strain on the connection between the cables and this plug here that should not exist. And so that really concerns me. I wish they had come up with a better solution for this, but they didn't. I don't know. Maybe they'll see my video, unlikely, and say, you know what, we should probably make a version 3 connector and try again. I don't hold my breath for something like that, though. So anyways, let's go ahead and look at the specs. All right, the Lian Li Unifan AL140 V2 RGB. It's also marked UF-AL140V2-1W. And I got it on sale, which is why I bought it, because when they sell theirs for full price, their fans are like $30-some at least. But I got mine for $12, and that was at Micro Center. I'm not really sure how I managed to get such a good deal for a version 2. But, not going to complain about something that I'm not actually going to use other than for making reviews and testing. It's got certifications from CE and ROHS, made in China, 140 by 25 millimeters, and there's no lifespan given, 2-year warranty, which for a fan that probably originally went out for $30-some is a pretty lame warranty. It does have ARGB, although I'm not sure how many LEDs there are in it. And the only thing that I know for sure works is Lian Li and Asus, because I just showed you that it works on Asus. It has a weight of 240 grams, which is completely understandable because they've gone for a lot more metal than most fans these days have in them, as opposed to in the old days where all fans were made from metal. And it's got 7 blades, 125 millimeters distance between the mounting holes, 250 to 1600 RPMs. Don't know about the variance. I'll guess it's 10%. Most fans are these days. It does allow 0 RPMs. The airflow is 81.6 cubic feet per minute maximum. Sorry. And maximum static pressure of 2.8 millimeters of water, maximum decibels of 26.8. I'm not convinced about that, but it could be right. 50 centimeter cables for both the fan and the LEDs. Daisy chainables because of their interlocking, sleeved PWM and 3-pin SMJST connectors, fluid dynamic bearings, 12 volts, starting voltage of 5 volts, 6.32 watts, which is a lot, 0.52, oh, my. 0.5266 or 0.53 amps, which is more than a lot of the other ones I have on this list. 5 volts is all I know for the lights, which I really am tired of these companies saying, oh yeah, we've got a 5-volt light system, but they don't tell you the watts and the amps, so you don't know how much electricity you're burning. But judging by how much the fan is burning, I would say it's not inexpensive to run the lights on this. No indicators of rotation on flow, which seems to be standard for Unifans. Turns in a clockwise direction. You get 4 screws. You get corner cushions. You get the SMJST to standard ARGB adapter. And you also get a hub if you buy a 3-pack. 1-pack, no, you don't get it, but with a 3-pack, you do. That's pretty much it. Thank you to Grindler, a.k.a. Lawrence Abrams, who is the owner of Bleeping Computer, for consenting to allow me to put my results in text form on Bleeping Computer's forums, as well as linking to my videos. Please visit Bleeping Computer, support them, make use of them. They're a valuable resource that's been around for 20 years, and they deserve support. They have lots of resources. You can learn about cybersecurity from them. You can get help with malware on your computer. You can get help with all kinds of stuff. They have a range of volunteers who help people who come there for advice, and they're very knowledgeable people for the most part, and some of them are very, very, very helpful. OldSod has been very helpful to me over the years that I have asked for input on things, and so thank you to Bleeping Computer. Thank you to the volunteers on Bleeping Computer. Also, thank you to my peers on other tech forums who are so kind as to provide me with input, suggestions, feedback, and so on. I really appreciate it, but my greatest thanks goes out to Bleeping Computer because you are my text home, I guess you could say. All right, thanks also to all my viewers and subscribers. Appreciate you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. Have a great day.